In the end, you have to learn enough to remember it's all, like we say at Summit all the time, it's not just truth, it's truth in the context of relationships. You've got to mentor. You've got to be. Look, sometimes success looks like success, and sometimes failure looks like failure, right? I mean, guys who win look somewhat usually better than guys that lose. But I'll be honest, every win has some loss in it. Every time we go out and do something successful, there is going to be a beating that someone's going to take, probably us, in order to be successful. That's why every fighter has got a guy in his corner called a cut man. This is Stitch Duran. He is a guy, his job is to close up the cut, stop the bleeding long enough for his fighter to get back in the ring. We had an event one time at one of these trainings where an atheist professor came in and shook our group because he pitched Jesus in a way that really cast doubt, and our group wasn't sure how to deal with it, right? So we, as their leaders, had to debrief this thing that night. Be the cut man. You have to be cut man for your own kids. When they come back and they've got a question, you can't point them to us. You're the first cut man they're going to encounter. You have to be able to, you cannot nurture your kids when they're wounded by culture unless you first know how to close a cut. If you don't know how to do that yet, it's time to learn that. First of all, you learn that from other people. My question for you is, who is your mentor? Sometimes you can just be someone like Jeff who's written a book that will mentor you. He's got several books out right now that will mentor you. But you probably need somebody in your life. Then you can turn and say, well, who now am I mentoring? This is a relationship we have. It's in both directions. This is the model, I think, for turning teaching into training. And let's face it, Scripture tells us all the time that we are to be involved in the act of training. That's why I say it all the time, and I'll just close you with this. Talk is cheap, folks. You've heard that expression, right? Do you know where that expression comes from? Any idea where that comes from? That is a biblical expression, because that comes straight out of Scripture. King Solomon said that. You probably didn't even know that's in Ecclesiastes 5. Talk is cheap, like daydreams and other useless activities. Fear God instead. So what are you guys waiting for? I want you to invest in Summit. I'll just tell you that up front. I didn't come all the way out here. I've got to leave as soon as I get done here to go to Kalamazoo for a conference tomorrow morning. I have to leave the Broadmoor Hotel to go to Kalamazoo. Can you imagine? I'm kicking myself. But I came here. I wanted to squeeze this in because it's important for all of us to make an investment in stuff that matters. And it starts with the investment of your time, your talents, and your resources. I hope you're invested here. Remember, the things we do repeatedly help us to hit the target. Whatever you do repeatedly, the more you do it in the same way, and the more often you do it, the more likely you are to be accurate. We call this muscle memory. Well, we have to have some muscle memory with our kids.